Good evening, friends and seekers. So, after Eve's last presentation, we received three questions from one person. In other words, all three questions are from the same person, and I'm going to ask Eve to respond to them tonight. So, here they are. I have been trying to practice neutrality consciously. Am I being successful? Will humanity have a new leader to lead it out of the current situation? Where will he come from? Do you have any timelines? And what specifically led to the massive second wave of COVID-19 in India when things seem to be going normal? Is there the possibility of a third wave affecting children as some scientists are predicting? Okay, so those are the three questions, and I will try and reach Eve and see if she wants to respond to those. Yes, we will take the first question first. This soul has said he is attempting to practice neutrality and wishes to know if he is being successful. Now, we find this to be quite a curious question because you understand that success or failure is a measure that only you can make. We do not make this type of judgment. You must look at yourself and see how satisfied you are or are not with what is occurring around you. We would like also to say that when you say such things as practice neutrality, we find this quite confusing because concepts are not practiced. You practice the piano, for example, you practice a sport, but you do not practice a concept. You may feign a concept, you may wish to believe in a particular concept, and so have actions that might support this belief. You may say, oh, I will present myself as being neutral to others. Am I doing a good job at that? And only you can answer that question. So we find it curious that you who have great knowledge of such things would be requesting an answer to this question. First, define it more succinctly to yourself, and then look to yourself and your actions and your beliefs to get the answer that you are looking for. We would also suggest to you and to all others who are still seemingly confused by this concept of neutrality that you go back and listen to what has been said previously. For we find that in many cases, the same question is being asked over and over again, and we believe that we have addressed this already. So we suggest you may need a review of what has been said already. Now, secondly, the question is being asked if there will be a leader to emerge to bring the world out of the crises that are occurring right now. First, we find it amusing that it is phrased in the terms of he. Will he happen to pop up and cure the world of its ills? This one especially finds it curious that the female aspect, which is generally a more softer, a more peaceful, more, we won't say neutral, but more feminine aspect. So it would seem that, at least in this one's mind, if such a leader were to emerge, it would most likely be a female. However, we digress. Now, there will not be one leader. This is a kind of a throwback to religion, where one says, oh, Jesus came and solved all the sins. Oh, Buddha came and enlightened the world. Oh, Muhammad came and explained everything. You see, this is not the way of the human race generally. Instead, what you have is many leaders, sometimes one after the other, but generally all at once, converging, discussing, making plans, making laws, making rules, listening to the public. And so changes are made in this way. Additionally, of course, as you all know, these changes are made en masse, and they are made not necessarily in the physical first. Well, definitely not in the physical first, in the non-physical first, and then it comes out and bleeds out, and the belief systems, the intents, and the desires are made physical. So, again, we suggest that you take a deeper look at what you believe to be the way the world is created, the way physicality comes into existence. We would also like to mention that there are several what you would call leaders in the world today who are not complete personalities. They may represent a portion of a personality, or what is deemed a complete personality by humans, so that you may have one who represents anger, one who represents rage, one who represents a softer demeanor, one who is pro-war, one who wants great power, one who is very pro-democratic and wishes to push these ideas on the world. So oftentimes what happens, and what to a large extent is happening now, is that many leaders together may represent a complete personality, may represent a feeling in the world, but individually they are not complete. Now, in terms of the pandemic and what has been going on in India with the pandemic, asking for a specific cause for a third wave is again somewhat surprising to this one and to oneself, because you understand, and we know you understand, that there is not one cause for anything. There are levels and levels and levels. So if you look at the third wave of the virus, not only in India, but in any country, you find that there are physical reasons, such as perhaps not enough social distancing, not enough mask wearing, etc., etc. The testing is incorrect or incomplete, and so the numbers that one is looking at in testing versus actual cases is not necessarily accurate mathematically. Additionally, you have belief systems encroaching upon the society that will be a cause for an increase or decrease in any given disease. You have those who are wishing to leave at this time, either because individually they are not being fulfilled, or because they have work that they wish to do on the other side, as it were, because they miss their family members, because they are in pain, etc., etc., etc. So you see, there are psychological, as well as physiological, as well as physical reasons for such a thing as a third wave, or a fourth wave, or however many waves you all decide you will have. Now, this process can take anywhere from a few days to a few years to a few decades to a few centuries, and that will be up to you, up to humanity, and the way they wish to proceed, what it is they are wishing to get out of this. And this is not something that we can predict, if you will, because we can say it will happen differently in different probabilities. And so, how it will happen for you is the probability you choose to follow, the one that you choose to perceive. Now, there are some probabilities that in your terms are stronger than others, which is not to say they are inevitable in your terms, but are perhaps more probable. And we would say that in this case, we are looking at the probability of perhaps a decade. Now, this, of course, can change, but we give you our best guesstimate, as they would say, in terms that this one can not block, and in terms that we believe will be of an understanding to you. This also applies to the question of whether or not children will be more affected. Now, children do not create their reality any differently than adults do. Perhaps they are more aware of how they do it, perhaps they are less aware, but the processes are the same. So, belief, intent, and desire will play the same amount of input, will have the same force in children as it does in adults. Additionally, we would say that the society as a whole look to its children as the future. And because of this, they often put a great deal of weight upon their children and a great deal of hope upon their children. So often, the children will take upon themselves to be a reflection of what the majority of adults in any given society or space time are feeling or wanting to express. So, as this pandemic continues, as you look to the children, they will give you cues as to what you may be creating. Now, we hope that this has answered your questions, and we wish you all a good evening. Okay, guys, I'll get this posted as soon as I can.